Valen's POV.
I had Zoe drop Valerian to the hospital. I smile when I see her car pull into the parking lot. While she parks the car, I make my way over to her before opening the back door. Unclipping his seatbelt, he hops out of the car excitedly, wanting to see his sisters. He brought the plushies he helped pick out with him. Yet as I glanced in the car, Taylor and Casey were both in their car seats, which I thought was a little odd. It was pretty late at night. Where are Marcus and Macy? Also, have you heard from my father? I ask Zoe, who chews her lip nervously. Zoe glances in the back at the girls before climbing out of the car and ushering me to the rear of the vehicle. Valerian climbs up onto the hood of the car and waits for me while clutching the blue and green plushies. Zoe glances at him as if to make sure he is out of earshot. John returned home with Ava, Zoe whispers, and I blink at her dumbfounded because nobody told me Ava was found or handed back. Why had no one told me? This was good news, assuming she was all right, and Everly would be relieved knowing her sister was okay. What do you mean? Is she okay? She is fine. She was a little dehydrated. John had his old pack doctor check her over. Zoe tells me. And no one thought to tell me. I whisper, yell. No, because your father and John didn't want to ruin your first night with your babies. But there is more. Macy cut a deal with Carter. She swapped places with Ava. My brows furrow at this information. Why would she swap places with her? It made no sense. And what would Carter want with Macy? I go to open my mouth to say something when Zoe speaks first. John and Marcus went to help your father look for her. That is why you can't get a hold of anyone. They told me not to tell you. I will send men out to help them search. Whereabouts in the city are they looking for her? I can send scouts out to help. I am not supposed to tell you, but Macy isn't in the city. They have a tracker on her. Marcus rang me just before you did. They picked up a signal, but it is weak and not giving them an exact location, Zoe tells me, and I curse, shaking my head. Just go take Valerian in to see his sisters and tell Everly her sister is fine. As soon as I know what is going on, I will let you know. I told Marcus he should ring you. I growl, knowing they were doing this behind my back. Please do, because apparently no one thought to inform me. I snap, and she cringes. They didn't want to ruin yours and Everly's day. It has been nearly 48 hours since they were born. Someone should have bloody told me by now. Get hold of Marcus and get him to bloody ring me. He has been ignoring my calls. I snap at her, and she nods her head before climbing back into the car. My head was all over the place. They didn't tell me, and now they are God knows where and could be walking into an ambush for all they know. But it explains the silence through the pack link and why everyone was ignoring my calls. Even Everly had been worried because she was expecting her father and mine to be here by now, especially with how excited they were. Is everything okay, Dad? Valerian asks as he rushes over to grab my hand. Everything is fine. Are you excited about meeting your sisters? I ask him. Yes, and Mom. I don't like being away from Mom. I brought the plushies, he says, showing me. The girls will love them, I tell him, giving his hand a squeeze before we navigate our way to the maternity ward. As we got closer, I could hear them crying, and I picked up my pace. Everly still couldn't shift to heel for a few more days and struggled with moving much. Opening the door, she beamed when she laid eyes on Valerian. He rushed toward her excitedly, where she was trying to get one baby to latch. While the other cried in the bassinet, another was lying between her thighs asleep, having just been fed. Can you grab her? She nods toward the bassinet, and I wander over, plucking her bundled up little form out of the crib. All three babies inherited my genetic mutation. All three girls had amber eyes and dark hair. We still hadn't picked out names yet, though I had an idea for one name but was yet to run it by Everly. So, for now, there were still babies A, B, and C. Moving to the chair beside the bed, I rocked baby B in my arms while Valerian dragged a chair over to the bed on the other side of Everly so he could kneel on it next to the bed. He places his hands on the side of the bed, peering at baby A sleeping on her legs, sucking on her fingers. They are so small, Valerian whispers, stroking baby C's foot while Everly attempted to breastfeed, which she found harder with 3 babies and no supply. We had been supplementing with formula, yet she was still determined to try to give them as much breast milk as possible. "Are you being good for Auntie Zoe, Auntie Macy, and Pop?" Everly asks Valerian, sweeping his hair from his face. I needed to cut it, it was getting too long, and he had been complaining his hair was messy. Zoe had tried to cut it for him, but he refused to let her touch it last night. Valerian looks at me. I swear that boy was too smart for his own good. The look he gave me was far too knowledgeable for a boy at age 4. I wait to see if he mentions Macy being gone. "Yep. Pop brought Auntie Ava home," he says before showing the baby the dinosaur plushie. Everly's head whips to the side to look at me. "Ava is back," she stammers the words out, and I nod. "Carter gave her back. But we will talk later when Valerian isn't listening," I tell her. Her eyes well with tears, and she swallows but nods her head, turning her attention back to Valerian and the girls. "Can I hold one?" Valerian asks excitedly, reaching for the baby on her legs. Wait, you need to be careful. Come here," I tell him, and he climbs down off the chair and rushes over as I stand holding baby B in my arms. "Sit in the chair, and I will help you hold her," I tell him. Valerian does, holding his arms out. I hold her, placing her in his arms, but keeping a firm grip under her bundle butt and head in case he drops his arms. Valerian looks down at her in awe and sniffs her little head. "She smells like Mom," he says before kissing her little head. The baby squirms in my hands and opens her eyes, and Valerian gasps.
"She has our eyes, Dad."
He squeals, inspecting them before smiling brightly. "They all do," I tell him, leaning closer to kiss his head. Valerian plays with her tiny fingers before he leans down, kissing her nose. I kneel, my back hurting from the hard blue hospital chairs while holding her while Valerian coos and making babbling noises when my phone starts to ring in my pocket. The vibration makes me stand, and Valerian pouts when I take his sister away, setting her in the bassinet. "Go sit with Mom, I will be back in a minute," I tell him, and he does while I pull my phone from my pocket. Everly shuffles over carefully, and he climbs up next to her with my help. Once I see all the kids and my mate are secure, I walk out of the room because it was Marcus calling me when I saw the screen. Shutting the door behind me, I quickly answer it.
"Forget to tell me something?"
I snapped at him. I know. You can kill me later. We need your help," Marcus says, and I growl at him through the phone. "Did you find her?" "We think so. We have an approximate area, but the search area is too big. We need men out here, and we are in the Forsaken territory. It would be good to have someone who has immunity besides your father out here to go in first," Marcus tells me. Fuck, my father and I both had some strange immunity to Forsaken bites from the mutation handed down, which I kind of hope is handed down to our children. Few people knew about it, and it wasn't something that we publicized, though, after the Forsaken attack, they probably figured that with how many bites we both had with not getting sick. Alphas had a little more immunity to the venom. However, their bites had no effect on me and my father at all besides a burning sensation. "Send me the coordinates, and I will send scouts and warriors out. I'm on my way," I tell him, hanging up. Walking back into the room, Everly was already staring at the door, and I knew she would have been straining to listen, which was why I shut the door. I could feel her curiosity while I was on the phone. "What is going on?" she asks through the mind link while glancing down at Valerian, and I knew she could feel my worry and anger through the bond. I should be out there with my men. "Carter has Macy," I tell him, and she purses her lips. The look of fury on her face was as angry as I felt. "So, why are you still standing there?" she replies, and I smirk before moving toward the bed. I lean over Valerian and peck her lips. "Come on, Valerian, I need to drop you home," I tell him, and his lip quivers, not wanting to leave his mother and sisters. I hated to be the one to break his heart. "He is fine here. You can help me with your sisters, right?" Everly asks him, and he nods excitedly. "I want to stay. I can look after Mom," he smiles. "You should tell Tatum," she mind links, and I knew she was right. Tatum had managed to use his crutches earlier and walked down to see us. I think he thought he would find Macy here because he looked pretty disappointed when he asked where she was, and I had no answer for him. He had stayed for an hour or so and said he wanted to apologize to her and that he didn't mean what he said. I got it. He felt useless not being able to walk properly and didn't want to be a burden on her. The nurses scolded him for walking down because he had an infection in his leg that required extra surgery to clean it out. The nurses forced him back to his room. I will tell him before I leave, I tell her, gripping Valerian's face. Behave for your mother and stay in this room. Don't leave. Your mother can't chase after you right now, I warn him, and he nods his little head. He'll be fine. I'll see you soon, Everly says. And I nod to her, kissing each of the kids quickly. Make sure you come home to me. You are not leaving me with 4 babies to raise by myself, she says through the mind link. Not even the devil himself would stop me from coming home to you. Or them, I tell her, and she nods, yet I could tell she was trying not to cry. She didn't want me to go, but knew I had to if we wanted to find Macy and have everyone come home safely. My father and hers could handle themselves, but we aren't sure what they are walking into, and each new alpha is stronger than their father. It means Carter is stronger than them, plus he was forsaken once, so we aren't sure what it means in terms of his bite. Leaving, I swing by Tatum's room, stopping at the door. I didn't know how to tell him Macy was in trouble, yet he had a right to know. He loves her and Taylor, and I knew he wanted her back after seeing him today. Swallowing guiltily, I pushed the door open to find a nurse in there checking his vitals while another was redressing his leg. He looks up at me. The room smelled sterile, and I could smell antiseptic strongly in here. One nurse smiles, leaving while the other was redressing the wounds. Tatum looks over at me. Late night visit, Alpha, he states, and I nod. The nurse checks his dressings before nodding. I'll come back and finish up, she tells him, and he nods his head at her. I wait for her to leave, and Tatum pulls himself up higher on the bed. Everything all right? He asks. I sigh and shake my head, moving closer to the bed. It's Macy, I tell him, and he instantly perks up at her name. Is she here? Did she bring Taylor? He asks. Carter has her, Tatum. His eyes widen, and he instantly tosses the blanket back. I grip his shoulder. Everly wanted me to tell you, I am going after her, but you are in no state to travel, I tell him, trying to shove him. If it were Everly, would you be sitting around? He growls at me, and I press my lips in a line. The doctor has told you, you can't shift. Fuck the doctors. He growls, standing, and I grip his arm. I'm coming, Valen. That's my girl and my daughter's mother. You don't get to tell me something like this and expect me to sit around and wait for you to return, he snaps, and I curse. Fine, but we are leaving now, and you are to hang back when we get there, I tell him, and he nods, though I had a feeling him hanging back with patrols wasn't happening. Let's go, he growls, shaking my arm off and moving toward the door. When we step out, the nurse's eyes widen. Tatum, you should. Leave him, I tell her, and she backs up as he moves past her, ignoring the worried look of the nurse. Yet nothing no one said was going to stop him from shifting. Not even the risk of losing his leg would prevent him from shifting to get to her if we tried stopping him.
Kaylin's POV.
What did he say? I ask Marcus as he hangs up the phone. I start unraveling the new map we bought from the gas station on the hood of the car. He is sending scouts and is on his way. Marcus tells me as we look over the maps with only a flashlight for light. We were trying to find some trails. We knew roughly where she was, but the forest was so dense that navigating through unfamiliar terrain, even for us, could end up with us becoming lost or walking straight past her without seeing her. The signal was only weak and kept blinking out. So while we waited for Valen to send some men, we searched over different maps trying to find any sort of trail. John was walking along the forest edge, trying to pick up any tracks or scents, so we were at a standstill for now. We needed help. No doubt my son would be furious with us, yet we were hoping to have found and brought her back before he found out. Yet when the hours ticked by and we found nothing, and the day came and gone and turned to night, we knew we would have to take his anger and ask for help. Macy's life was the priority, and we didn't want to take unnecessary risks more than we already had, and this area was known as Forsaken Territory, yet we were yet to come across any. What about this track? It leads toward the river, I ask, finding a tourist trail. Too small for access by car, hiking trail, Marcus suggests, but it cut off before it got to the river, yet was the only trail we had found. Over here, John calls out, and I look down along the road, the wind whipping my face as I look in his direction. It was bloody freezing out here, and the grass was ridiculously high along this road, and I could just make out his head and arm waving for us to come to him. Wait here, I tell Marcus, and he nods, putting his head down to go over the maps again with his flashlight. One was a tourist map, yet why anyone would tour out here was beyond me. The other was just an ordinary road map. Walking toward John, I stop beside him when he starts walking toward the truck stop about 500 meters down the road. We had passed it on the way here, but it was empty. What is it? I ask him, jogging to catch up with him when he turns on his heel. I think I found Carter's car, John tells me, and I pick up my pace to follow him. We walk to the far back of the truck stopping place, where some toilets and bins were. The place was entirely empty. John then disappears into the long grass, which was angled wrong, and bent toward the forest slightly. I followed him, barely a couple of meters off the road. Covered by branches and obscured by the grass was a car. That's definitely his car, I tell John while trying to peer in the windows, but seeing nothing from the lack of light, and the tent is too dark. The breeze picked up from the brewing storm, and we knew we would be racing the storm once the scouts and Valen arrived on the scene. Lightning had been streaking the sky for the past half an hour, and the thunder was growing louder as it got closer. The trees swayed, bent in the wind, and were surrounded by mountains as they whipped through, making the wind howl and whistle. He can't be too far, surely. That is dense forest, John mutters, his eyes scanning the area. Yes, unless Macy was knocked out, he would struggle to drag her through it. She would have fought, I believe. Not necessarily. Macy is smart. She would bide her time and wait, knowing we would search for her, John says, turning and staring at the ground and looking for tracks. What do you want to do? I ask John, and he glances back toward the road. Valen will be hours away, John mutters, peering back into the forest's darkness. Not with the way my son drives, I tell him, knowing Valen doesn't seem to understand the speed limits or how to abide by them. My son seemed to have a lead foot. Even so, it would take him time to get here. I am going in and taking a look around, John says, walking around the car. Wait, let me tell Marcus. And I will come with you. Marcus can hang back for Valen and the others to arrive. I tell him before walking out of the long grass and back to the road. I make my way back to Marcus and let him know, and he fiddles with my phone linking it to his. Walking around the back of my car, I pop the trunk. I grab some flashlights before returning to John, who is stripping his clothes off. You're shifting? I ask, and he nods. One of us should. Besides, I didn't bring my glasses, and my eyesight is better shifted, he laughs. I nod. Best to be a little prepared. God knows what we will run into out there. You got the app open? He asks, and I nod, holding up my phone to see her name blinking on, but not giving us a direct direction, just flashing in general on the screen, but not in one spot like the frequency was being blown around. John sets his clothes on the car's roof and then shifts, and I turn the flashlight on before stepping into the forest after him. The darkness swallows us instantly from the canopying trees, the place silent. Not even the crickets chirped, all noise dying out, sensing John, a predator, walking, trudging, and sniffing through it. We move a little deeper, and after 10 minutes or so, John starts sniffing a large fern under a tree. What have you found? I ask him. Blood. John mind links back, and I shine the torch on the fern he was sniffing to see speckles of blood on the leaves. It was dried on the leaves, and I plucked the leaf off and sniffed it. Macy's, I tell John, and he nods, peering into the darkness. A growl escapes him, and he lowers his head, moving through the trees silently, with me following behind him.
Macy's POV.
You're right. It is inevitable. But that doesn't mean it has to be unpleasant, right? I ask before climbing between his legs. He watches me as I reach for the waistband of his pants, my fingers slipping beneath them. My fingers tremble as I grip them and slide them down his legs, only for him to grab my shoulders and haul me up his body. He crushes me against his body, and he rolls on top of me, his body sliding between my legs and pressing against me as he purrs. His hands reach for the thin slip dress as he bunches it before removing it over my head. He tosses it aside, his lips going to my chest. My skin buzzed and came alive at his touch, tingles spreading everywhere as he captured my nipple in his mouth. His lips trailed down my ribs, nipping and grazing my flesh with his teeth. I swallowed, trying to ignore our bond that was telling me to give myself to him. Yet it was hard when, despite not wanting his hands pawing over me or his lips tasting me, the sensations were overwhelming, yet down there, he would be distracted. He nips at my hip, shoving my legs apart, and I feel beneath my pillow to the edge of the bed when his mouth is suddenly on me. I cry out at the pleasurable sensation as his tongue sweeps over me while my fingers search for a piece of the antler I broke off. The chain on my ankle seemed to annoy him when he shoved my leg higher and spread me wider for him, yet I needed to move closer to my side of the bed, knowing the antler was at the very edge of the bedhead. Yet my hand fists the sheet when he sucks my clit, an involuntary moan escapes my lips, and I hated that he could play my body like a damn instrument thanks to the bond we shared.
You seem distracted.
Carter murmurs against my lower lips, and my hand freezes in its search. I glance down at him to find him watching me, and his eyes flicker to that of his wolf side. It was eerie staring into them and seeing my face reflected back at me.
No, I am just worried about Taylor.
I tell him, which wasn't a lie. I was petrified for her. I didn't want Nixon anywhere near her, and if I didn't tell him the truth with him feeling out the bond, he would know I was up to something. Carter sits up on his elbows. He kisses my knee before he looks at me, his eyes scrutinizing my face.
You will be reunited with your daughter soon enough, but for now, we complete the bond.
Macy, he says, dipping his head and running his tongue along my thigh. My throat suddenly developed a lump as I choked back emotion, and I kissed his cheek before he thrust himself inside me. He groans, and I roll my hips against him while he buries his face in my neck and breathes against my skin. My hand leaves his side to beneath the pillow beside me. I couldn't get his heart from this angle, yet still, I wrapped my hand around the piece of antler. His tongue traces over my mark, and I would miss that feeling that only made tears stream down my face as he moved slowly, rocking his hips against me when I gripped his hair. I locked my legs around his waist, and his hand gripped my thigh. A sob tore from my lips as I plunged the antler into his neck. He stills and gasps, startled, and I could feel the pain through the bond, the betrayal he felt while I choke on a sob at what I just did. I grip him harder when he tries to push off the mattress, and I jerk it out only to plunge it back in. Blood spurted across my face and gushed out of him, and his hand tried to pry my hand free, holding the antler in my fist. Macy, he chokes, and I choke at the sound. I twisted it, causing more blood to pour out. I felt it go through his windpipe, and I heard him gurgle. I could have loved you, and I would have loved you. I cried as I clutched him. But you hurt my sister. I breathed. Carter gurgled, trying to lift up, but my legs were locked around his waist, my feet locked behind my ankles as I held onto him as he struggled to breathe. No, mate bond is stronger than the bond one have with my sisters. I tell him as he chokes on his own blood. It spews out of his mouth and coats my shoulder, face, and neck with its warmth. His last breath beside my ear will always haunt me, same as the pain that sliced through my chest as sharp as a razor edge. It cut right through my heart and made my soul bleed as a coldness settled over me, so cold, it felt like death, and I knew it was his and mine. I felt the part of me that was connected to him die along with him. The bond tether and agony tore through me, and I hiccuped a sob. Kaylin said killing your own mate would have consequences, and it felt like I was rotting from the inside out as I felt blood trickle from my nose instantly. I sniffled, feeling his dead weight crushing me as his body went limp, and it took every ounce of strength I had left to crawl out from under him. I was drenched in his blood, and I looked at his body face down on the bed before my shaky hands tucked the blanket up, as if I could pretend I was tucking him in instead of being unable to look at what I did. Yet as I did, my legs went from under me, and I fell heavily beside the bed. I killed him. I killed my mate, and knowing that only killed me even more.